Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the TradeStation Masterclass. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education for TradeStation Securities. It's always a pleasure to be here and to have also with me John Bruch. He's the Director of Easylanguage Services for TradeStation Technologies. And we're going to pass the microphone over to John in just a moment. As you can tell, my voice is still a little bit off. And that's basically one of the reasons why I've been forced to cancel our masterclass sessions throughout the week. I apologize for that. But today is November 10th. And since John is doing the majority of the speaking today, I thought that I would try, and join you guys and see if we can make this a class. So before I pass the microphone over to John, let's go over some disclosures. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations of TradeStation. Also, active trading is not suitable for everyone, and past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. For additional information on these disclosures, please visit our website. You can visit us at www.tradestation.com/important-information. All right, guys, let's go ahead and stop my share. John, are you there?
I am, Jesus, and thanks for being a trooper.
Oh, man.
It's good to have you. But I can definitely hear it in your voice.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm trying to, when I speak a little, I'm okay.
Okay.
I attempted to do a class last Monday, and it was a little crazy, yes.
Just too much, huh? Yeah.
It's a little too much, yeah. So I have to take it easy.
Okay. Sounds good.
How you doing today, John?
Not bad.
Okay.
My voice is intact.
That's good. So we don't have that many people today. So
Okay.
if this is your first time joining Easy Language Answered, we do an open session where you can ask questions related to Easy Language or the TradeStation platforms. This is more intended for Easy Language since we take advantage of John being here and him being the in-house Easy Language expert. So we take advantage of that. So if you have any Easy Language questions, that would be great. I only see one person in the room, and not to put you in the spot, Luis, but do you have any questions today? You have two ways of asking John or me. You can type your questions in the chat, or you can turn on your microphones. I enabled your ability to use your microphone if you want to, but it's up to you. So we're going to sit here maybe a minute or two to see if anybody else shows up, John. So let me ask you, John. We don't have anything prepared for today, right?
Well, I was I don't remember who had asked about the DMI oscillator, but I took a look at that, but I don't know whether it's worth going through that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. I mean, these sessions are archived.
Okay.
So a lot of people, will benefit from going back to the recording and enjoying these.
Okay.
So if you have something to show us, please do.
Okay. Let me share my screen. I've got my screen still oriented vertically, but hopefully we can make do here.
Yeah, it's okay. We've gotten used to your vertical screens.
That's what I was hoping. Okay, let's see here. All right, let me make sure I share the right one here. And okay. So we had, let's just review what happened was we had a question, and I think it was related to something that someone had been using from the App Store, but it was called DMI oscillator. And I went and after our last class and tried to get a little information about whether such a study had been previously developed or in that sort of thing. And it turned out that indeed such a study was done by a lady named Barbara Starr back in 2013. So she created, and I actually just found this by Googling, but we have all of the traders tips code in the support forum also. So in the traders tips code, you can see here, this is the code that was written for her article back in 2013. So I ended up taking a look. I copied this code from the traders.com website and started taking a look at it. And it turns out that there's a function here also. Let me show you the function. There's a function. I think it's way down here at the bottom. Let me scroll down. Here it is, DMI oscillator function. Can you guys see that? Can you see this?
Yeah,
okay.
You see that, yeah.
Okay. So the function, once you get to looking at it, you see that the function for the DMI oscillator is basically just the DMI plus value minus the DMI minus value. So it makes for a kind of an interesting indicator. And I think I may add this study to the work area because it's an interesting use of Wells Wilder's DMI, but the code then I actually wrote just rather than calling a function, wrote another version of it. And I guess I just wanted to illustrate a couple of things here. One is that, let me see if I can find that other code that I wrote. Let's see. I think I may have just done it with. I remember now. Okay, so I did it with custom one line. So just to illustrate. So one of the things I wanted to illustrate today was the use of custom one line. So because it's so useful for studies like this, let me reorient these windows a little bit. I'm going to do it this way. And what I wanted to do was just say, okay, here's the one that's from Barbara Starr's code, Dr. Starr's code, and that copied down from the traders.com website. And then here's one that I just did with custom 3 lines. I used custom 3 lines, so I'd have a line for the indicator and then the overbought and oversold lines. So for formatting custom 3 lines, then the formula is just DMI plus, and you could put in any length that you wanted, minus the DMI minus. These are already built-in functions in the platform. So, nice. And then the other 2 formulae are just fixed values for the overbought and oversold. So a plot line at -20 and a plot at +20. So then I said, okay, well, just to be sure, let's compare. And sure enough, that's exactly what the DMI oscillator is. So anyway, I wanted to just present that as, so 2 possible solutions if a person's looking for the DMI oscillator right away. One is use custom 3 lines, just do DMI plus minus DMI minus, as I've done here. Or the other one is go to traders.com and grab that code and first create yourself a function for the DMI oscillator function that she uses, and then create an indicator that based on her code that you could use, copy and paste it from the website, that that calls that function and plots the indicator. So as I say though, in the longer term, I'll probably add a DMI oscillator to the work area, because I've noticed that it is actually kind of a popular study. So anyway, I appreciate the question from last time, but just wanted to show some kind of approaches for something when you come across an indicator that you might want, but we don't have, and you're maybe not even sure how to code it. Some searching around can yield results, or at least give you a formula that you can then use in a question that you might post at the website.
That's interesting. So, yeah, because sometimes you look at the name of the study or even the style of it, and you think it's complicated, but it's not that complicated, right?
Right, exactly right.
The oscillator here is just taking the difference between the two lines. Is that what it's doing?
Yes, exactly. So
Mhm.
going back to our custom, this is a little hard to see. There's a little minus sign in here.
Right,
So
I see it.
the formula here is just DMI plus, and any length you might want. I just used 14
Yeah.
and minus the DMI minus of the same length, and your overbought and oversold levels if you're using custom 3 lines, and that's it.
Yeah, perfect, and yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Because if I had looked at the indicator and I looked at the Easylanguage, I would have thought, oh, this requires a lot of programming. But you can see how
Yeah.
easy it is to take one idea and just make it work for TradeStation.
Well, that's an excellent point too, which is that sometimes you look at code kind of
Mhm.
like this, and you're right. Your first impression is that there's some more to this.
Yeah, yeah.
And but once you start kind of reading through the code, you say, okay, I've got some inputs here,
Uh-huh.
got a couple of variables, and then it really just boils down to this
Mhm.
DMI oscillator calculation, which is just a call to a function, and then we're going to plot the return. And
Mhm.
the rest of it is kind of formatting and the overbought and oversold levels, and then maybe some background coloring or alerting. And you're right though, the initial glance at the code makes it look more complex than it really is.
Yeah, correct. Yes. And the DMI is an indicator that's built into TradeStation. And if you put it on a chart, you're going to see that it's made up of 2 lines. And this is just taking that idea and turning it
Exactly.
into something
That's
else.
right. That's right.
Correct. It's just taking one line and subtracting it from the other, and it creates some sort of an oscillator. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yes.
I'm not sure who was the person who asked that question, but I
I
do
can't
remember
remember,
now that,
right.
yeah, that's very true. Very true. Okay. Oh, thank you for that, John. That's
You're
really
welcome.
helpful.
Yep. Okay, great.
Luis wanted to test his microphone test. Do you have a moment? Can you speak to see if we can hear you? I think he's trying.
He was hooking it up to his laptop.
Yeah, he did say that he was going to connect it, and he raised his hand. I think he has a
Okay.
question. Maybe.
Do
So
we
he's
have
on
to
his
allow him
laptop.
to talk, or is it already enabled? Or
Oh, maybe I didn't. So no, he should be able to
oh,
talk.
okay.
Let me
Okay.
allow everyone here to talk and see.
Okay.
Um,
I see he's connected twice, I think, but okay. Anyway.
yeah,
There.
All right. Somebody did something. Now I'm in. Thanks, guys.
I did
Okay,
something.
there we go.
Yes. How you doing, Luis?
How's everybody doing today?
Not bad, not
Good.
bad.
Good.
All right. So I'm kind of a newbie at TradeStation. I've been trading crypto for a couple years now, and I found that I loved it. So I also wanted to move over to like the traditional markets because I like watching the indices and whatnot. And you guys have a really good salutes program. So I joined up. I put $2,000 in my account. I'm gonna put more, but I just wanna. I come to these meetings. I'm trying to learn as much as I can and get to know as much as I can about the platform. I also use TradingView, which I'm very familiar with, and I can hook TradeStation right up to that, I think. So that works out well too.
That's excellent. Excellent. Now, do you go by Luis or Louis?
Whatever you want to call me, it's both.
Okay, that's great. Hey, well, it's great to have you. Welcome to TradeStation. And yeah, the reason why we meet in live sessions like this is to talk about what is it that you need and how you want to customize your trade station. You know, a lot of times everybody develops their own style of trading, and you may need something very unique. And, you know, the great thing is that TradeStation allows you to customize things. So that's the reason why we're here.
Yeah, I love it. So for my crypto, when I'm trading, I like to use like footprint charts. I know I said the other day, it's like maybe I use the TPO charts, and then I also use charts where I can see the delta. I can see all the orders inside the bar. Do you guys have anything like that?
No, I don't think we do. I think John, he's talking about like a volume. We have volume charts, but
It
let me
is a
ask you-
volume chart. It's all the orders coming in. You can see how much money has come in at that level, you know?
Okay. So more like a market profile type of thing that
Yes,
goes on
yes.
top of the candles. Okay. Yeah. John, you were going to say something?
Well, I was just thinking it may be a little bit, I mean, the volume at price is displayed in a couple different places, but if that's what we're talking about, and I'm not an expert on, you know, footprint charts. I've heard the term, but I don't know too much about it. But the matrix window does show volume at price. So if this is the type of thing that one is looking for, the matrix window might help, but it's not historical, so it's not going to show, you know, on the bars. If you're looking for something like a volume at price on a bar, then our usual approach to that is what we call activity bar studies. So, for example, if I add the volume distribution activity bar here, then we'll get a display, you know, something like this, and this sort of thing can be done on any bar interval. And
Also, you got your TPO letters right there, I see.
yes.
Mm.
So
Is that what you call the TPO letters?
Yeah, well, the TPO is letters. Every 30 minutes is from the start of the session, A, and then B, and then
Okay.
C. That's TPO. I don't know if this is how that is, but
Not sure what TPO stands for, but we
time, price, opportunity.
Oh, time, price, opportunity. Okay.
yes, and the one of the things that's kind of interesting about activity bar studies is that, as with other studies or all studies in TradeStation, the activity bar studies are written in Easylanguage. So the Easylanguage is my point here mainly being that some familiarity with the Easylanguage that underlies these studies then can help you configure them or calculate things or do other stuff and extend them and so forth. So perhaps the most important background information from an Easylanguage point of view about activity bar studies, is that they make use of a thing called activity data. And activity data can be thought of, as you may know, you can place up to 50 data streams on a chart. You can put them in hidden subgraphs, or you can actually show a number of them. I'm not sure you can show all 50, but or you can show all 50, but not, some of them would have to be in the same subgraph. But activity data is data 51, if you will. And but the terminology that's used in the Easylanguage is activity data. So various things then are calculated in activity bar studies on the activity data. The interval of the activity data is set in the formatting of the activity bar study, as I recall. I don't use these too much, but here it is. So you see, I'm on a 10-minute chart here of Apple, but my activity interval is set to 1 minute, and that's as low as we go currently in activity data. But that's you can change this, and then that changes that activity data streams interval for use in Easylanguage if you happen to be starting to get into, you know, wanting to write or configure your own activity bar studies. But that's kind of the other thing that might be interesting would be that, you know, if you're using those footprint or other types of studies, if you have suggestions about things that we should add to the platform that perhaps have some sort of similar functionality, don't hesitate to use this feedback application here and send us some feedback on what it is that you do, what it is that you use, what how, maybe, you know, a little detail on how you use it and that sort of thing. So because we're always looking at those types of new features, you know, for addition to the platform. So
Yeah, I'll definitely do that on that feedback tab. I really like the platform. It's new, so you know it's different, but I definitely like it.
Great.
I have a question about the symbols for the futures.
Yes.
Is there a chart where it's like you have the continuous contract so I can have all the historical data and not just because I'm a very technical trader and I like to see the historical data to get levels from?
Sure. Yes. John, can you show him?
sure, here's this thing is a little bit small here, but we use this @ sign at the beginning of the symbol to designate that it's a continuous contract, and then we typically use the let me change this chart because I've got too much
@ makes it the continuous contract
in general with the base of the base of the symbol. So if the symbol root, we call it, that's the word I was looking for. If the symbol root is ES, then the @ sign with ES is the one that designates the continuous. And of course, it's currently plotting then the front month. So December for the ES. And then
can you trade on this continuous contract as well?
Okay, that's what I was going to mention, is that there's also okay, so first thing is there are several versions of the continuous. So for example, if you just wanted the day session, you and I'm just typing here, I don't know if you can see this command line coming up, but @es.d is the day session configured, because the continuous itself will take up the Globex session settings, so it'll be, you know, more or less 24-hour symbol. And then, but if you wanted the day version of the continuous, you can do things like @es.d and so forth. Okay, then the tradable continuous, I am trying to remember. Do you remember, Jesus, oh, I remember what we do. Okay, I don't trade on the continuous myself, but the symbol becomes the same as a particular month. What happens with the continuous is that we need to know which month you want to trade. Because if you just used @es, we couldn't be sure that you meant, and you tried to trade it, we couldn't be sure that you meant the December and not the March, right? Or even next June's. So to distinguish that, but allow you to have a continuous contract, we use the @ symbol with a month specifier. So it'd be @es, I'm typing it here, @es, for example, Z22. So then this is a tradable continuous. It's got the @ sign, but it's also got a month designation, the Z in this case. So that's how we do the tradable continuous. There's one other version of these types of continuous contracts, which we might as well touch on as long as we're talking about it. And that is, if you wanted to, you can create what are called custom futures contracts or custom continuous. And for example, if I type in ES here in the symbol lookup, I'm on custom futures here. I can create a custom continuous contract that has rollover rules that are different than what the exchange kind of does, or what we do with this, the common ADS. So I just want to mention that because, you know, for example, here's the specification of the rollover trigger, and you can specify your own, right? Because you may not want to roll at the in your continuous, you may not want to roll at the exact same time that the exchange, you know, moves to the front month for most of the activity. You may want a slightly different rule, but especially you may want to specify a rule, a different rule, you know, for example, if you were back testing something. But anyway, that results in a symbol that's sort of got an equal sign. It's got the custom specifier ADS and then an equal sign, and then some letters and numbers that are created based on the choices you make here. But I just want to mention that you know, there are custom continuous contracts in addition to the regular continuous, if you want to call it that.
Thank you. Still
Sure thing.
confusing, but it clears up a lot.
Okay.
Right. At
Just-
least
just
gives you
remember-
an idea what
yeah.
to look for. And there's stuff, information in the help if you kind of get into continuous and custom continuous and so forth.
For sure.
Or a
Yeah.
tradable. So the terminology is continuous, custom continuous, and tradable continuous.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Yes, Steve is asking about Option Station Pro, and I think that's a question that I can take. Is Option Station Pro only one instance of it at a time? And the answer is yes. You can only open one Option Station Pro at a time. So there's no concept of multiple Option Station Pro apps open like you do with TradeStation. Like in TradeStation, you can open up multiple desktops and have them, you know, organized in multiple monitors. But Option Station Pro only allows you to open up one instance of the app, and you would have to change the underline if you wanted to see options on a different symbol. Yeah,
Correct.
I think John is bringing that up here on the screen.
Right. And exactly as Jesus says, what people sometimes do if they're trying to keep an eye on multiple underlyings, and given that there's the single OS Pro window, is they'll use this symbol linking, the global version of symbol linking. So this is, I happen to have this window set to green global, and then I can, of course, you know, set my radar screen, say here, to the same green global symbol link. I think I clicked blue by accident. Green global symbol link here, and then when I click on a symbol here in my radar screen, the OS Pro will change to that symbol. So it gives you a way without having necessarily to manually change the symbol in the OS Pro to, and especially people often have lists of symbols, right, that they're working through and so forth. And anyway, it's a quick way to, I wish I could display multiple monitors here because it's a lot easier to see, but it helps you link the radar screen to the Option Station Pro.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great tip. Great tip. Thank you for that. And he's also asking about, does TradeStation have a heat map feature to view multiple markets easily? The heat map feature.
Yeah, I've seen the
Yeah.
heat map on like Yahoo Finance, where it shows a visual display of different sectors. So finance, it'll show JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, what they're doing for that day, you know, up 3%, down 2%. Then it'll show retail, it'll show other sectors. Because I was wondering if you had that feature, because if you did, could you then add, like you do with radar screen, could I add the symbols I want to see what that, how the market is doing? It's very visual. It's almost like a PowerPoint presentation. But I didn't see that in any of the searches I was doing, so I just thought I'd ask.
So what comes to mind, John? Do you recall any studies that, because I mean, we may not have something as a heat map, but of course, this is all, comparing performance.
Correct. That's exactly where I was going to go.
Yeah,
Right.
correct. So I'll
So
let you do.
I mean, I was going to go to something like the sector ETFs, or it really depends on what one wants to have in the map. That's one of the complexities with heat maps is how does one want to categorize? For example, are we looking at sectors or industries within sectors, or stocks within industries, or something else? So but one could, for example, add, say, this, what are there, 10 or 11 now sector ETFs, depending on how you like to look at sectors. But I'm thinking of the S&P sector ETFs, but you kind of could look at the net percentage change of each and have at least sort of a performance view of what's happening sector wise. And you could do that with any grouping. So if you had industry indices, for example, you could do the same sorts of things. And then, but we don't really have, I mean, the other thing that the heat map shows is a relative comparison of the size of the
Correct.
category. So, and then that additionally makes things a little complex, but interesting in a way, because so for example, one could break up a country into various sectors and look at the sizes of the sectors within the country, and then the performance as the coloring in the map. So I'll take that as a feedback suggestion that heat maps are useful. And then we can figure out kind of what the best ways to allow people to organize them are. But and it's also nice, like you mentioned too, which is, to kind of position your own, a particular stock or index within the map and say, okay, at least performance wise, where does this guy sit today? Yeah, I'll take that as a feedback item. That's good.
Great. So we
And
don't
just a
have a
little-
perfect. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, comment on the Option Station Pro. I see what you're saying, but to imagine if you wanted to trade 5 different stocks at a time, or options, and they're all time sensitive. So you see on your screen, here's a good opportunity based upon my edge, and I want to get into the Qs and the SPY and Apple, and let's say 4 stocks at once with options. By the time I open up the options chain and I choose this one, I have it linked to my matrix, place that order, open up the options chain again. I want to change it to Apple. By the time that loads, I get it, choose the option, make the trade. That's linked to a different matrix. And then, it's just clunky, for somebody like me who is in and out of a couple stocks many times during the day. I've even created a radar screen where I choose some of the options that I think I'm going to want to use. But as the day moves, that option is no longer the one I want. It's too expensive. The delta is too low. And then I got to go in and find another one. And it creates a lot of busy work.
Yeah.
And it's not that you're going to solve the problem for me, but I just wanted you to know kind of the challenges I have as I'm trying to trade multiple markets at a time. That's some of my problem.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Have we considered allowing Option Station Pro to open up multiple times? And I think one of the concerns on the TradeStation side was, TradeStation's performance if you open up multiple Option Station Pro windows. Have we considered that idea of opening up multiple OS Pros?
Yes, we have, and but you're quite right, Jesus. depending on what one wants to do exactly with the data, it can become pretty overwhelming pretty quick in terms of the bandwidth required. But that's a little dependent on how many strikes and how many expirations, you know, a person has configured to look at, and it's just a technical challenge, just like any other. So you're right. As to, you know, kind of some of the underlying challenges, there are technical challenges in it, but anyway, that I'd still take that as a good
I'd almost be
feedback
happy with
item. Yeah.
if you called it mini option pro. Like, I just want to see
Yeah.
today's option. That's all I care about. I don't care about the quarterlies, the weeklies. All I want is today. And I just want to see today Apple, today Q, today SPY, today IWM. That's all I want. Like, that would be like the
Gotcha.
mini
Yes.
version. I'm not saying it's simple,
No,
but that
I
would
got you.
eliminate having, because I can see what you're saying with all those chains, with all the different weeks and
Correct.
et cetera. That's a huge amount of data flowing back and forth to me. And what I don't want to create is a big lag to where I'm stuck in a trade, I'm
Right.
trying to get out and I can't because the system's thinking, and that doesn't help me either. But
Right. It's calculating Greeks and doing all kinds of stuff. Exactly. Yes.
Correct. That's interesting. So, yeah, because we've always, even if something is not visible on the screen, we've always ensured our clients that everything is updating in real time in the background. So having these multiple Option Station Pro windows would still require real-time updates, even if it's not the active window. And even if it's not the expiration you're looking at, I think that if Option Station Pro loads all the expirations available, we're going to do real-time updates on all the strikes, even if you're not looking at, or even analyzing them. Is that right, John?
Yes. You're starting to get into the technical aspects, which are interesting, because one of the things is that in terms of some of the solutions that we've, and just for those who are technically inclined, is that while we process all of the ticks, tick by tick on all of the options that potentially exist in let's say multiple pages of an OS Pro application, either multiple pages or multiple instances of the application itself. The question also is, do you have to paint, what we call paint, all of the tables that, or do you paint the one that you realize is topmost or being viewed by the user, let's say in a tab setup, and paint, kind of attempt to achieve some performance gains that way, but it's kind of a technical issue in the background, but sort of just to describe to you, some of the things we've looked at in terms of being able to maintain performance while, as Jesus says, still processing all the ticks, is to, modify how we paint and when we paint and what we paint, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. On that idea or that suggestion for the heat map, Rich is also suggesting that we take a look at FinViz and how they do their heat maps there. He says that there's some heat maps there we can take a look at. All right. I don't see any more questions here. Does anybody want to jump in and ask something?
So for this thing you have displayed on the screen, we'll call it the TPO market profile. Can you make it so that, how I was watching it, so every letter is 1 minute and it goes all the way to K.
Correct.
And K is your 10th minute, and that's why you form a new profile. But can you do it to where the daily session is in the one profile and each letter is 30 minutes, 30-minute bars?
Yes. So if I were going to do that in this chart, I would first, I'm going to switch to daily. So I'm typing .d at the command line, and that changes the interval to daily. And then I would go here and change the setting that we were looking at for the volume distribution. Actually, it defaults to 30 minutes. So, which I think, is that what you said, 30? So that's the 30-minute inside the daily.
Mm-hmm.
What's this study called?
This one is called volume distribution. It's an activity bar study. So when you have a chart, if you say studies, add study, then instead of indicator or show me or paint bar, you go to activity bar. Is this one volume distribution?
Mhm. Yes.
Thank
And I
you
would
so
say,
much for your help.
yeah,
That makes it my life a lot easier.
great. I'm glad. John, this is a interesting question. I'm not sure if we have any information on this, but I'm going to address it since it's in the chat window.
Okay.
Since you're engaging in a performance-related conversation, can you share if there are any roadmap plans to move to a 64-bit platform, not just for Option Station Pro, but the desktop app in general? And hopefully, if so, what are those plans and timing, please?
Excellent question. Excellent
Yes,
question.
it's a great question. Yes. I'm not
Yes,
sure.
unfortunately, one that I cannot discuss. So,
Yeah. I felt the same way. I thought you had a little bit of better connections than I do, but I really don't have any information on that. Yes.
right, right. These things are definitely, things that we're, I apologize that that it's something, but that we can't discuss the. But anyway, I guess my thought would be something like just to let you know that it is the type of thing that's being considered.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's something really important. Everybody knows that technology just goes at an incredible speed. And if companies like TradeStation that provide a platform that is dependent on software and technology, if we don't, keep up with technology, then it's really hurting our business. So rest assured that it is a company concern, and there are definitely discussions on how we can keep up with the current technologies.
Yeah, I
Hey
can tell
guys,
you, right.
can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Ryan. I'm the one that asked that question. I do appreciate the response. I understand the stance as well. Kind of in a related mode though, there's supposed to be some sort of I don't know if I'd call it a developer community, but almost like a beta program, kind of sponsored by TradeStation. And I'd signed up for that when I first started to look at your platform because I wanted kind of that inside track. But I've never ever received or had any interaction with anybody at TradeStation that was related to that program. And it's almost like it's dead. That's a comment to address this next question, which is, even though you can't talk about the plans, is there any vehicle or something in play where you would actually have people in the community that do want to exploit and take advantage of the platform and can provide feedback, but have a direct line of communications, an open channel, if you will, to some of your platform developers?
Well, okay, excellent questions. My initial thought would be that we can definitely get you into the beta program. So if you're not already receiving updates, so when the platform's released, it goes through a process, and there are actually several iterations of beta, but essentially what should happen is that when your platform would update earlier, once you're in the beta program, when a new update goes to beta, you'll automatically receive it. So if there's any difficulty doing that piece, we can work with client services to add you to the beta program. So that does exist. The currently the best way to get things onto our radar screen, so to speak, is to use the feedback. So we do look at this. So and this is we do receive some feedback that's other than the platform, feedback about other things, brokerage services or the web trading or the mobile app, but this feedback app is a good way to submit thoughts and concerns. And along those lines also, I guess I would say that the other way to go is the support forum, because we are active in the support forum. I say we, I mean the firm. And so when you go to get support and you go to forums and wiki, this will take you to a login screen. But once you log in and create a username, you go to the TradeStation Easylanguage, a TradeStation and Easylanguage forum, I think is what it's called, or TradeStation and Easylanguage support. And you'll be engaged right away on the Easylanguage side. The guys you'll run into are John Robinson. You may see Chris Emhoff posting in there. You may see Dale. I'm forgetting Dale's last name. But yeah, there's Dale Cameron. Yeah,
I don't know.
I believe that's correct. And then there's another guy. His first name is Tony. His last name is Cerrone, I believe, something like that. Or Cerrone, actually, I think is how it's pronounced. But anyway, the forum, not only can you ask questions about Easylanguage, but you can say, hey, look, here's my setup. What's the best way to do it with what we currently have in the platform, and here's what I'd like you guys to have to enable me to do what I need to do. That kind of discussion. So
yeah, I appreciate that. And
okay.
Yep. So just as a follow-up, I think what I need to do is just contact customer service then, because I have multiple times requested the test program access, and again, I don't see any evidence of it. So, but I will follow up with them. But yeah, and appreciate the transparency, and I know some of this, it's you got to keep it under wraps or whatever in terms of the future plans. But again, just to reiterate what I said in the chat, it sounds promising, so I'm optimistic. I love the platform as it is, but I do think probably looking at, it's kind of like I'm a Corvette fan. They need to go to a mid-engine because they've exploited everything they can do from a front engine perspective to get to the next level, and I feel like TradeStation's platform is in that similar vein.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah. You're welcome. Yes. And one question the other thing would be, or question / opportunity is, once you get into the support forums, is if you do run into particular performance issues, please let us know and say, look, here's exactly what happens and when it happens, and here's what I'm doing. And, that way we have a little more detail on exactly what kind of performance scenario, causes someone to say, hey, I want to improve performance, like exactly under what conditions.
Exactly. Okay, so we've reached the end of the session, John.
All right.
It was a very, very interesting question. Thank you guys for participating. And again, thank you, John, for joining us. And
you're welcome. My pleasure. Okay.
Guys, have a great afternoon. And yeah, tomorrow, let's check the schedule again. I'm not sure if my voice will be, up to speed in order to do the session, but check the coach messages and everything will be notified there. Okay, thank you guys for joining us today. Have a wonderful afternoon. Goodbye.